In all my years being a high school teacher, and also from being in high school, there's one thing that all students look forward to, and it's the senior privileges that come at the end of the senior year. Usually starts around Memorial Day when the yearbooks come out, and seniors get them first. And then after that, it's the senior exam schedule, followed by early dismissals after school. And at Wayne, there was the intricate rehearsals for the commencement exercise. And all of a sudden, we are part of the group that are out on the football field while everybody else is sweating in the classroom. And the day before graduation came, we finished up our rehearsal and had a senior picnic, and we're out there having something to eat. And I remember somebody playing music on the PA system, probably from a radio station, and this song stood out. It still stands out for me. Every time I hear it, I think of being on the football stadium in June of 1964.
Love me with all your heart, that's all I want, dear. Love me with all your heart, or not at all. Just promise me this, that you'll give me all your kisses, every winter, every summer, every fall.
A rather odd song to stand out, thinking of the British invasion with most of the top 10 hits by the Beatles, and then there was the Dave Clark Five, Petula Clark, the Stones were coming around, Herman's Hermits. But that song by the Ray Charles Singers stayed with me, and I was a little confused about who Ray Charles was. This Ray Charles was not the guy who did What I Say or Georgia on My Mind. He was the music director for Perry Como on the Kraft Music Hall on NBC TV. After the picnic, we were supposed to go to the auditorium, pick up our cap and gown, and head home. Easy thing to do, looking forward to a nice, quiet afternoon. However, when we got into the auditorium, we found that the shipper of the caps and gowns made one small error. The shipper boxed the caps and gowns up in white and blue classifications only, not sizes. And so I believe it was the class advisors who were looking through this list and everybody's cap and gown size, and then going through the boxes trying to find out whose cap and gown belongs to each individual. And it was a long process, and it seemed longer. We're sitting there waiting as everybody slowly walks out of the auditorium with their cap and gown. It took forever. At least it seemed to be. I think I was there until 1:30 before I found myself in front of the school waiting for the public service number 84 Preakness Avenue bus to go home. At the time, I was not into walking. I could have probably walked home faster than the time it took to wait for the bus. There were a lot of shortcuts I knew, but I just... senior in high school, you're not going to walk. 10 years later, I actually did jog from my house to Wayne Valley and back with no problem. I was probably much more of a wimp as a senior in high school than later on. Graduation day came, and it was kind of easy going. I'd wait until late in the afternoon to get ready. There were the family photographs in front of the house, and then driving to the high school, parents and relatives getting into the stands. The class of 64 was lining up in the gym for the processional out to the football field, and everything seemed to be working well. I would say that the commencement exercise was running as a well-oiled clock until Mr. Kerr had us ready to sing "You'll Never Walk Alone," and then it happened. So Mr. Kerr stops the exercise, and we wait for the siren to end, calling volunteers to some emergency. But I often wondered, was it an emergency or not? Was this the last shot, the last prank for the class of 64? We already had the graffiti incident at Stearns, and I wondered if this was one last prank. And it could have easily been done back in 1964 because we didn't have the phone tracing the way we have today. And somebody could have made the call from a telephone booth. Remember those? Well, after that, it was time for receiving our diplomas. And you picked up your diploma, so it was a girl, followed by a boy, followed by a girl, followed by a boy. And we were told in our rehearsals, make sure you don't get out of position, because if you do, you'll get the wrong diploma. Well, you can figure out what happened to that. By the time I got my diploma, it had a name on it that wasn't close to my name. But we went through the procession to the recession. The graduation ended. We went back to the gym, turned in our caps and gowns, turned in our diplomas, went to a box where we picked up the right diploma, and then my family celebrated in grand style with hamburgers and fries from the Falls View in Patterson. Friday the 19th broke a sunny, beautiful day. Last day of school for all the other kids in the township. I'm walking around the front yard, not paying much attention to anything, and I hear a horn blow. It's Bernie in the Oldsmobile, and he says, hey, let's go over to the high school and pick up our report cards. Why not? Go over there. We walk around like we don't belong anymore because everybody else in the school has 1 to 3 years left, say goodbye to some teachers, walk into guidance, pick up our report cards, and go into the summer of '64 with a few visits to the New York World's Fair, watching the Mets play in Shea Stadium, and playing a lot of three-par golf at places that are now malls or business parks, one of them being at the circle of Route 23 in Pumpton Plains Crossroads, and another out in Pine Brook next to the auction behind O'Dowd's Ice Cream Parlor, as we worked our way towards September and a new college life.